So you may think at first that these stems are useless, and if you don't want to deal with them, you can definitely throw them away. Hi there, my name is Adina from plantsbutbetter, and today's video is all about fixing a leggy plant like this one. This is a philodendron Florida green, and I never attempted to fix it so far because I wanted to keep it for this video especially. One big reason that a plant becomes leggy is the lack of light. So this philodendron was helped with artificial lights at the base, but then the lights didn't reach the whole plant anymore and the growth got smaller and smaller, and then it ended up with these leggy vines right here. My initial fixing was to put it on a pole, and then as you can see, after the leggy vines, like, the plant did recover because it did get the right amount of light again, but overall, like, it's not a very appealing plant. So now that you know the main problem for the leggy vines, let's talk about fixes. First, like, there's a no-brainer, you need to move your plant to a brighter place. Or if that is not possible, you need to provide some sort of artificial lighting. I can't stress this enough. If you've watched any of my previous video, I say this each and every time. There is no such thing as a low light plant. If you don't give your leggy plant enough light, it will eventually become worse and lose all the leaves and could eventually die. So overall, this plant is healthy, don't get me wrong. We are going to fix this plant today only for aesthetics because, as you can see, it starts as being full and then is leggy and then is full again, and it's a bit inconsistent. So let's do a makeover on this philodendron Florida green, and I will cut the stems with a sterilized scissors. I would like to propagate this plant like a lot, and I will chop like maybe right about here. Now let's see how this vine looks like. Oh my god. Okay, so this also has potential segments for wet sticks. I will show you two main types of propagation for this plant. I will cut the other vines as well from right about here. Yeah, do it with no mercy. You got quite a haircut. An unrecognizable plant. I have 3 plants in here, and you can leave them like this. They will start to vine eventually, or you can fix them on a pole and you can successfully grow it upwards. I bet this video is a bit awkward because it's my first time filming this type of video and I'm not 100% in my comfort zone, but as you can see, I can definitely chop my plants without any regrets. This is a top cutting. Like, it's self-explanatory. This will grow a bit faster than the others because this has the active growth from the beginning. I need to organize myself, that's for sure. I never thought this video is going to be so chaotic. I need to pay attention not to break the plant. The next time I'm doing this, I will definitely choose a smaller plant. This vine, for example, is very pretty. You can cut it like a bit longer. And I think I have another vine like this as well. Yeah, maybe this one. Okay, so I have 2 perfectly vines in here that I can place in water, wait for the roots to grow, and then you can put them back on your mother plant and get a fuller plant. Make sure your segments have at least 1 node, like this one, or multiple nodes if you want your propagation to be 100% successful. If you can see some aerial roots, that is even better because they will become your main roots for the plant. After you have your cuttings, the safest way to propagate these plants is with water. For some reason, I don't have a jar of water with me because I forgot, but let me prepare it for you. Okay, so get your glasses, place your cuttings. Like, there's no need for me to explain any further because this is super simple. Place your cuttings, add your water, and then wait for a couple of weeks or maybe more and you'll get new roots. You need to change the water at least once a week, and please be careful to not pile up a lot of cuttings in a single jar. If you have 5 cuttings, it's more than enough. I'm not using water right now because I may be clumsy and spill it in here, but please remember that you need to change it frequently, because if you don't do so, and if you forget for a longer period of time, your roots could rot. Let's declutter this table a bit so we can move on to the second option of propagation, the second method. I will put them in water a bit later. I don't have space in here. Bless you. Moving on to wet sticks. So you may think at first that these stems are useless, and if you don't want to deal with them, you can definitely throw them away. Or you could also experiment with them. I have with me 2 containers, clean containers. In here is cocoa fiber or cocoa coir, and in here I have sphagnum moss that is a bit damp. If you've never experimented with wet sticks before, I advise you to do it at first on very cheap plants. I mean, sometimes you can find on the internet super rare and expensive wet sticks that may or may not grow in a beautiful plant. But if you're a beginner, it's a bit more tricky to help a wet stick come to life. I will cut this segment so I will have just one note for every part. If possible, look for an auxiliary bud, because from this inactive bud, the new growth will come eventually. And place that bud upwards on your clean container. In your clean container. Let's do half in sphagnum moss and half in cocoa fiber. Okay, so after you placed your cuttings in the container, spray them with some water until the substrate becomes a bit moist, but not 100% soaking wet. Close your container, and if you don't have a lid, you could place it in a zip bag, and this will create that high humidity, which is your #1 friend when dealing with wet sticks propagations. Also, if you're not in the mood or you don't have time to experiment with wet sticks, don't be afraid or don't be ashamed to throw them away. Maybe I'll get some hate for this, but it's totally okay to throw away almost hopeless plants if dealing with them or saving them will affect your mental health. There are some plants that are not really worth the effort. A solution for this is to gift them to people that have the time to experiment and grow this plant from zero to something. Well, this is it with this video. I've been a bit nervous filming this because it's a new setup. I mean, I'm not used to it, but you gotta do what you gotta do. So don't forget, lack of light will cause leggy stems, and the fixing for leggy stems is to place your plant in a brighter area. Oh, and by the way, the options we talked in this video work great for pothos or syngonium or pretty much any vining plant. If I've missed something, or maybe if you have other solutions to this problem, let me know in the comments. We also have a blog, and if you want to know more about plants, we'll link all those great links in the description box. And until next time, don't forget to take care of yourself and your leggy plants.